Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, when a woman says, "Why should I care if a man wants to cheat on his wife with me?" And this is an important question. It's a very important question in today's time when secular liberal atheists promote the destruction of marriage, promote open marriages, swinger culture, demonize polygamy and monogamy, and religious orthodoxy, gender roles, and the nuclear family, and so on and so forth. They promote porn, want to legalize, tax, regulate all drugs, and are very permissive in terms of allowing very horrific music that promotes indulgence in lust. So, when we hear phrases such as a woman saying that, we have to have answers ready. And sure, we say, well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like fornicators and adulteresses, and hellfire is a place of torment, and you don't want to earn your position there. But in another way of answering this woman, on a practical level, that might be potent as well, is you should tell her, you should care, because not all women are going to just walk away from what you did. Some women come back for revenge, and you may think they won't go Cersei Lannister style on you, that instead they may just cap you and you'll exit this realm very quickly. But others might actually take their time, especially if she really loved him. Sure, she'll punish the man, but when women decide to turn revengeful and demand vengeance, that can get pretty gnarly. Okay? And so, if you get a reputation of being someone who sleeps with married men, you will make a vast amount of enemies. And that will get in the way of your job opportunities, the peace in your life, and retribution can express itself within your life in ways you never even imagined. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can bring justice upon you in ways you never suspected. And I'd also argue that sure, maybe for a time, you love sleeping with married men. You didn't want to tell him no. You're getting away with it. He's buying you things, so on and so forth. But let's say one day, you finally find a man who loves you. He loves you. You love him. You're his. And no one's going to separate you till you feel. And then here comes along your carbon copy. Another you, but in a body different than yours. And they did what you did. And your heart gets turned inside out. You become so broken that it hurts to swallow. To where when you breathe, it feels as if you just avoided drowning. You have to recognize that while you're pretty, or semi-pretty, and you can afford your adornments, that maybe sure you feel confident enough to say such things. But when old age comes, your vengeance might come in that age. And having a broken hip, having a fractured rib cage, a hurt spine in your old age and such, is not going to be as easy to heal from. And it's going to be more lasting. And the pain will come in its waves upon you. Your healing will be slower. And you'll moan and groan like a cow dying on the field because it was attacked by wolves. and is bleeding out. You should care to avoid married men as much as possible. You shouldn't glorify in hurting other women. You shouldn't want to pick a man who is so low that he would do that with you. And why would you trust a man who did that to his wife? And why would you want his money and his time and his company? You think you're powerful because you pulled him into your bed. Rather, you showed that you can pull low-quality men, because only a low-quality man would go with a woman who was fine with luring him out of his marriage bed. And a man who succumbed to lust by a woman he is not married to and doesn't plan on marrying is weaker than the one who pushed you away. See, Prophet Joseph, may Allah be pleased with him, pulled away from a beautiful woman. She was married. He's a hero, an awesome human being. But if you are a woman, wrapped up in yourself, careless, cold, calculating, living too much in the now, right? You're not looking ahead, and you decide to say, I don't give an F, and you sleep with married men, you are having a ripple effect on destroying families, and that reputation is a hard stain to wash out. And you can't predict who you will love. And what man, I'd argue, could ever really love a woman who has done that? And you in your heart will know that once this man finds out your reputation, he could go. And you may say to yourself, I don't care. I'll endure. But you will care. You will. And that shadow of gloom will loom behind you. It'll make you cry as if you were being choked by the air. No one's words will be able to comfort you. And if you think intoxicants will save you, they won't. They'll make you spiral, go into deep rabbit holes in the recesses of your own mind. You'll live in a catacomb of misery, and you won't be able to escape. And then when you wake up with a hangover, or you're withdrawing from your drugs, you'll remember that that person whom you loved is gone, and a woman took him from you. And no matter how many times you text him, he won't respond. He'll change his number and maybe put a restraining order on you. And it's all because he found out your reputation and a better woman snatched him from you. He escaped your clutches. And that will be the justice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put upon you. And at that time, you won't have anyone to blame but yourself. You will not get away with what you did. In some form or another, you will pay the debt of what you did to other women, and for the men whom you tempted to break their marriage vows. So, if you think it's empowering to tempt married men out of their beds and to sleep with you, I would tell you that it is not. And you're actually weak and pathetic because you couldn't find someone single who is literally waiting, right? You took joy in hearing the praises of a married man, which is quite gross, and you should rectify that. And look up to the women who choose to do better and choose to withhold. Some men it's very difficult because of their immense amount of handsomeness. But in the end, you must have pity and mercy for his wife, even if she's a total horrible woman. Right? Still, you must think about what will happen to you. She may be terrible, he may be a scumbag, but they are married. And you must find a husband. And you must not make a reputation off of sleeping with married men and thinking that you're cool if you sleep with married men. Because everyone pays for what they've done. And you never know, if a child grows up, they remember you as the adulterous mistress. And they come to collect. Say, you destroyed my parents' marriage. They got a divorce because of you. My life was changed because of you. And now I want justice. And they're going to take it from you. And you may be thinking, I don't care, I'm not afraid. It might be at a time when you're pregnant. Maybe at a time when you're happy. When you're on top of the world. And that kid whose home you destroyed comes to collect. Or maybe you wanted a nice job. You never know. And his ex-wife is the boss. She cuts you off. Doesn't give you the job. Or worse, you get arrested. You go before the judge, and the judge is the child of the woman whom you ruined the marriage of. There are so many different ways Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can repay you for your filth, for your bad choices in life. And it is a bad choice. So never boast and be proud of saying, why is that my problem if he wants to cheat on his wife with me? Why should I care? You should care because you don't get to decide how your punishment will be laid out. And you think you have control over your heart, but you kind of don't. You don't get to decide sometimes whom you love. And if you love someone and they're taken from you, that pain can last for years. It can be like a sword, a dagger, a broken vein, just twisting and turning and pulsating within your chest that can't be healed, can't be medicated away. It remains. The only one who can remove your suffering is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you've earned his punishment, it's because you deserved it. So don't complain. For a time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may let you get away with your fornication. There's a debt that will be paid. Justice will be done in this life and the next, or both. So don't think that you're tough or special or some type of sex queen because you went around besting other women in terms of snatching their men and then bragging about it to them in their face. Because that type of honey doesn't stay a honey for long. Doesn't. So beware of that. Don't take pride in luring married men. No. You should fear it. See it as a temptation, a warning, a supreme test that's just, you must pass it. You must not do it. You must be like Joseph, and I'll be pleased with him, and resist at all costs. Think about it. And if you're about to do it, don't. Don't do it. It's better to be a second wife than a mistress.